Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The final map is here. It will be Whirlwind. This could take a while.
Oh yeah, we could be we could be here for a long time. Whirlwind is a huge map, something like 16 bases or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, quite frankly. And, well, it's a pretty good option, I think, for the final map. If you like TBT, you're going to get plenty of it here.
That's right. We might literally see every type of unit in the game here.
That would be pretty cool.
Ranging from bio to all the way up to the tier 3 air for Terran.
I would love to see that, man. I really would. We haven't seen enough BCs in Super Late Game TBT lately. That was a thing that was happening a little bit in Wings of Liberty, but just is not happening anymore, and that saddens me.
It does, and Ravens have really empowered, because Seeker missiles have gotten a lot better in terms of their indirect damage. So Ravens are really valuable. And I love seeing the Raven Viking Battlecruiser chess match. It's really nice to watch because the mirror matchups in late game, like Broodlord versus Broodlord, is kind of lame, and Colossus versus Colossus is not, or Void Ray versus Colossus, whatever that kind of composition in PvP, is not nearly as entertaining as watching Terrans be able to scan and really position themselves correctly.
I would tend to agree. We're going to be going into the game momentarily. And I think Xenocider proved that he can definitely play the older style of TBT. He is clearly ready for... Sorry. He is ready to handle that kind of thing without too much of a problem. And that's the kind of thing that I feel is it's a style that is most suited to very experienced players with a ton of game awareness. And it seems like a player like Xenocider would not really have that, but he does.
It's definitely one of the hardest things to explain. I remember trying to learn TBT from Fuser when he was here in the US, and he was trying to really coach me. And it was just one of those things where I felt like I was talking to like a Finnish Yoda. Yeah. He was like, "You must feel the matchup. You must not do this." And I'm just like, Fuser, how do I transition to late game? He's like, "You must build tanks here, and you must position here." And I'm like, "Can't you just tell me a general concept?" And he's like, "No, you have to learn how to play it through thousands and thousands of games." His voice obviously dropped 5 decibel levels after I asked him a serious question. But the point is, TVT is one of those matchups where it's just tough to explain to somebody without them experiencing it there.
Yeah, unfortunately, no one can know what the TVT is. You have to see it for yourself. Oh man, a TBT is the matchup which I just lose every game. I am actually 0% win rate for TBT in this season. It's just awful. I love watching it, and I have no understanding of how to play it properly.
It's tough because no matter what, even a build order opening is just an opening, and you can easily just crumble if you don't know where to position yourself. And it's very map dependent as well. There's so many small little tank spots that you can really take. And if you're playing mech, that's the crux of your army. But that said, I want to also point out that while Whirlwind might look like a map that's bad for mech, it's also a map that we've seen a lot of players play mech on, despite it quote-unquote being tough to cover your area, right? Whirlwind's supposed to be really expansive, a lot of counterattack paths. Is mech really good? I do want to say that if there's a time to play mech, it's not necessarily the best to play on Whirlwind, but it's very doable, and we've seen players like Flash execute it to perfection.
All right. Well. We will be going to this game momentarily, and we will be seeing something. It's hard to even see. It's hard to say, I think, in this position what we'll be seeing, because we've seen so many radically different styles from both of these players already in this tournament.
Yeah, completely agree. And remember, the winner of this goes on to play Kane in the round of 8, which will be tomorrow. As Totalbiscuit will be casting with Idra, which would be a really fun thing to watch.
I have no idea how that's going to go. Not a clue. But I'm interested to find out. And we just got kicked out of the lobby. God damn it.
Well, that was a quick game 3 then, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty quick. So this is now the 3rd time we're having to recreate the lobby. Battle.net is definitely not liking us today. We will be in momentarily. You've been seeing this versus screen for like the past 3 minutes, which is like a little bit unfortunate. Oh, come on. Let's get it going. I want to see this final map. I'm really curious to see who actually goes through here.
Yeah, I want to see what QXC has in store. Does he have more Hellbats like in game number 1, or does he have more Reapers like in game number 2?
It's a mystery to everyone.
Ooh. You know what they say, though? There's a Chinese proverb, Total Biscuit.
What is that?
Man who dropped many hellbat, see world burn.
Right.
That's so terrible.
That was actually awful, but yeah, I'll take what I can get at this stage. It's like, quick, fill for time. Say something mildly funny. It just doesn't happen, and we're just like, yeah. There's only so much you can fill time for when things are taking this long, and when you're at the end of like a 6-hour cast.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Although no one will be epically as bad as the NFL Super Bowl caster or commentators. Those guys, I swear they must have told me the same play like 7, 8, 9 different times. And by then, I'm pretty sure I could have ran a play action football snap by then.
I think that's very much a possibility. Do we have everybody? Who are we missing? Please get into the game. Otherwise, I will just go away. I'll leave the cast. I'll just let you solo cast it. I'll lock you as the observer and we'll go. It'll be awful. Not to say that your solo casting is bad. I'm just saying that Blizzard's observer locking feature is really not very good.
I get it, man. It's totally cool. Totally cool. If you need me to, I can. I can, Total Biscuit. I actually used to solo cast all the time. All the time.
Back in the day.
Because no one else used to cast with me. Forever alone.
Oh, that's so sad. It's alright, you have your hetero life partner Greetalp now, so everything's cool.
Good times. Alright, so, second time, will it be the charm on Whirlwind?
Hope so. I'm sick of seeing this loading screen.
It is. I really feel like we're about to play some epic mono battles or something because of how many people are in this lobby.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. It's like, oh yeah, let's load 10 people in here, but like pedal fast and please don't drop anyone. If we drop a caster, I'm just going. I'm sorry, I'm going to be mean and unreasonable. We're good. We're good. We haven't dropped anyone. This is really, really good. So everyone can actually get set up. QXE takes his red, and then there's the second one. Things are looking good. Please don't break. Please don't break. Go, go, go. Yes. Whirlwind. We want to see TBT. We want so desperately to see TBT, and we are finally into the map. Ah, what a day. What a day.
It's been a long day, but we had a lot of fun. State qualified first from the group as he defeated both Terrans and QXE and Xenocider. RSV, in the meanwhile, has been the first eliminated. The last spot will go to either of these two players. Total Biscuit, why don't you take away introductions?
Let's do it. To the southwest position of Whirlwind in the red trunks, playing Terran. His name is
Complexity QXE.
Versus his opponent. To the northwest position, also playing Terran in the blue trunks. Currently teamless, he is
Xenocider.
That's right, he is teamless, although he is, again, very young. In fact, almost everyone was teamless that was in this group today, right?
3 out of 4.
QXE.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised to see State not having a team, especially considering how well he's been playing. Admittedly, I guess he fell off the map for a little while, but now State is just rocking it. I remember when State used to be on Vile. That was a long time ago.
That's right. Him and Illusion were on Vile together.
Damn right.
And they both came over to Quantic in that huge merger, so to speak.
Yep, and then unfortunately, I believe as a result of the dissolution and then the recreation of Quantic, State found himself teamless.
That's right. But I also know that State was trying to balance studies right now with, or I don't even know if it's right now with StarCraft 2, but I knew that he was focusing on it for a while. Good to see him go through the group. Again, if you missed it, you can catch the VODs on this channel. But overall, really impressed with State's play. And now we'll see who's going to follow up this in the runner-up position, whether it's Xenocider or QXE.
Hard to call, man. QXE is going... we will see 15 gas from QXE. Yeah, we're definitely going to see 15 gas. It's like going gasless doesn't seem like the way to go. But Xenocider did take his refinery before his barracks, so we will see what he decides to do. He may go for the double Reaper play against his opponent. That could work out. But we're seeing the kind of response that we saw from Xenocider. And I don't like Reaper on this map, if I'm totally honest. And it's just because of how ridiculously difficult it is to get into the base.
Yeah, Reaper has no opportunity to really jump from anywhere. Like the main and natural is really a tight spot.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with that notion, Total Biscuit.
Yeah, so we're actually going to see super fast factory from Xenocider. This is going to get immediately scouted. Now I guess he would have hoped that it didn't get scouted first, but it did. Now the question is, where is he going with this, more to the point? Will we actually see super fast Hellbat come out of him? We might, especially if he stays on one gas. We could, of course, see Banshee.
That's right. Xenocider has opened Banshee in his games against Major. You might be on something, Totalbiscuit, considering everything's naked so far.
Yeah, I smell a bit of Banshee, possibly. Especially with that second gas going down. We'll see if he goes directly into the starport here, and if we actually see a tech lab be put down that factory for the swap. We will find out momentarily. Here comes the starport, and let's see. He's not building anything from the factory. Yeah, could be Banshee.
Regardless whether it is Banshee or not, QXC also has a pretty powerful opening. He can go for a quick command center and be safe against Banshees if he knows it's coming.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, well, we got to see that tech lab go down the next few seconds if this is actually going to be Banshee. Still not building it. What is he doing? What's he doing with this factory? Is this just for some like straight up weird, just straight up marine drop? He's building a tech lab. Tech lab is late. Like,
yes, it is. And maybe Xenocider thought he was building it earlier, and he's lifting as if he wanted to. Yeah. I think it's slightly mistimed there.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
a little unfortunate.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. You know, that slows it down. The faster the Banshee can hit, the better it is. It's not hugely terrible because it does allow him to start the Banshee and the Cloak at around the same time. So it doesn't really matter that much to the timing, I don't think.
Well, it does give QXC valuable time to get his own tech up, considering that QXC is opening up Hellions. Yep. And he can get a Viking out in time if he wants to deal with it. Although QXC would also have to worry about the cloak that's coming up as well, since it is going to be 2-gas Banshee. Yep. Xenocider, though, if he doesn't do critical amounts of damage, it's going to be, well, when I say critical, I mean he gets at least 6, 7, 8 SCVs in a scan. Yep. It's going to be kind of tough for him to climb back in the mid-game because his command center has been severely delayed.
Yes, it certainly has. There's a Viking coming out from QXC. He is playing super cautious, but he already has that command center down. These Hellions are not going to be able to break that on their own, but they have Marines backing them up, and suddenly Xenocide is in a lot of trouble. If those Hellions actually get into the main base...
Well, it doesn't, and the Banshee has been revealed, although QXC did scan and saw the tech lab concocting something, so he knows that potentially Cloak is on the field. He is starting a Viking of his own. Great opening here from QXC. Still doing lots of damage, just stopping the SCV from building that command center. His Lee is compounding at this point.
Yeah, and the Banshee did kill it. That's good, and he can bring down the Widowmine as well here, but he slowed that command center down so much, and the Banshee's actually taken so much damage that I don't even feel it's worth the risk going in there. With one Viking out and a second Viking already on the way, yeah, he needs to repair that if he wants to do anything with it whatsoever.
Yeah, the Viking searching for the Banshee, trying to see if he can pick it off. Xenocider also trying to use that Widowmine defensively, but QXC picks off the building SCV yet again.
So good, and he even dodges the Widowmine there as well. That's a massive delay here. QXC is building up this huge lead, and he already knows what's coming at him, so even with the tech advantage, Xenocider can't do a lot with it. Cloaking against the Hellions, which is utterly unnecessary, and now he's going for this base, and there's already a missile turret there. This is... damage can still be done, but not a huge amount.
Barely, if any. Xenocider is... The Viking spots it. There's no way for Xenocider to pop in. Maybe an SCV building a refinery or something, but other than that, QXC is doing a good job keeping his opponent on his toes. He's got 2 Vikings offensively. He's got his Hellion trying to poke and see if he can kill off the SCV, but he's keeping great tabs on his opponents. And now Xenocider, he's responding by building a 3rd command center because he knows he's got to do something. He can't just play from behind like this.
Yeah, well, QXC's doing the same thing as well, and Xenocider is able to delay that, but as soon as that cloak runs out, which will be in a few seconds, he could lose this. Yeah, he most likely is going to lose this Banshee by the looks of it. The Vikings are right on top of it, and it is going down. And that Cloak Banshee tech was absolutely worthless. There is a 12 SCV lead already for QXC, and God knows how many mules that were dropped down in that period of time. Xenocider is, without question, behind in a major way going into this.
Yeah, now QXC is starting to ramp up production, and even if Xenocider tries to get his own barracks count up, it's not like he can keep up in the amount of Marines that can be pushed out here from QXC.
Yeah.
Now, what's nice, though, for Xenocider is that in the end, his 3rd command center timing isn't too far behind. So he'll still be able to keep up with mules, which can outpace the SCV's mining. Yeah. But in the end, there's no map control that he can have, because how can he really honestly defend 3 bases with such a lack of infrastructure?
with great difficulty would be the answer there. You know, unless some weird mid-game Banshee stuff happens, which is not even going to happen because QXC is building a Raven. It's like, you know what? There is the only chance of you really getting back into this game is for you to be able to sneak a Banshee in somehow and do huge damage with it. Xenocide is not even quick enough to cloak in that respect and loses yet another Banshee. So QXC is in the most comfortable position possible. The only way this is going to work out for Xenocider at this point, I feel, is if he is somehow allowed to take that third base. And the scan lands, it sees it, he knows what's coming. There's no way QXC is going to let him take that.
Yeah, and if QXC doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive and push in, but just contain his opponent slightly while being able to be safe against any other drops or counter harass, then QXC can just get a really large lead, max a lot quicker, and even though they might be on similar upgrades, QXC just has such a positional advantage. And I also say that Xenocider has a kind of a disadvantage in terms of spawn position because he only can really take one third base. If he expands closer to his opponent, he's inviting disaster.
He is indeed, yeah. That's not going to help him too much at all, unfortunately. Whereas QXC will be able to take a base which is significantly further away from his opponent. Always nice. Now, this is not asymmetrical. The symmetry is rotational, so you can end up in a situation where this is not ideal for you. QXC now takes his third base, completely and totally secure, and Xenocider is just macroing as best he can, but he is behind in a big way. He's now trying to push out, and he's going to be going up against an established defensive position here by QXC.
Do you want to see that Xenocider also has to be really cautious because he hasn't started combat shields, and I'm not sure if he forgot to or he just he can't afford to. In regards to his production, because he's trying to crank out tanks one by one. But, I mean, right now he's just about to finish stim. QXC, in the meantime, seems to be sitting so pretty. And keep in mind that QXC also has a Viking advantage, which can't be understated enough, because Vikings just control so much of whether or not the tanks can move forward or backwards, or even get some nice shots off if the opponent's being careless.
Unquestionably. And it also means that QXC is a little bit more drop-proof than his opponent, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see QXC start to try and drop here, because he does have the army supply advantage, so he can kind of afford to have 8 Marines in a medevac not at the front with his army here.
Yeah, I agree. I think QXC, there's obvious weak points in his opponent's base. In fact, the turrets are now starting to come up for Xenocider, so third to the main drop is not that big of an option. If he was able to break that. But in the natural, there's a nice little comfy spot with a lot of supply depots, which does hurt. You know, supply depots, when some Terran players get desperate, they drop the drop supply. That also is really nice to just completely stop their mules. And you do this, you just get a large economic advantage, because look at it, QXC is just powering so hard. His supply advantage is pretty significant at this point.
It really is, and QXC is going to hit max before Xenocider, and then going to just try and take a fight, I guess. With 71 SCVs on 3 bases, nice and secure, he could do that. And unless he runs into this really horrible position where he just gets horribly slaughtered by well-positioned tanks, then he should be fine. But this is TVT! That means that can happen, and it very well could end up being very, very messy for QXC if that ends up happening. Picks up the units in the center here and is now able to pivot from that Xel'Naga watchtower and get into position. Xenocider is posturing, though.
Yeah, I don't like the way he's posturing, per se. He's a pretty... Oh, well,
he gets the siege advantage there.
He left with part of his army. QXC is going to try to Secret Missile and try to hit these Marines. It looks like it's locked on. But there's no real tank damage done in that regards. But QXC managed to preserve his tank number, and that's going to be really tough for Xenocider to overcome.
Yeah, that was actually may very well just have been the nail in the coffin right there. QXC continue to push forward. He knows that. Loses a medevac unnecessarily, but it's currently 164 supplied to 111. And now that third base is definitely under threat. There is a single tank there. QXC decides, yeah, you know what, let's just wait for all of my huge numbers of tanks before I even go in there. And sieges up, takes a lot of damage in the process. Off go the tank shells, however, and Xenocider's defense is broken now.
Yeah, QXC saying, what is up? QXC, in front of me, dropping the Manor Mules, saying, Xenocider, it's time. Time of day.
Yep, it really, really is. It's QXC time. It is time for you to smash your keyboard, not me. Third base is down. There's the GG, and QXC will advance 2 games to 1 to play Kane in the round of 8.
Very well done. Just look at how cost efficient QXC was compared to his opponent. You can see it was almost double in favor of resources lost. And you can kind of make an argument for the snowball effect of the early game, but at the same time, Xenocider a little bit too careless all game long with both his Banshees and his army in the middle of the map.
Absolutely. The opening just flat out did not work out for Xenocider, and he got caught out by that early game push, which denied the SCVs for so long. They were unable to build that command center, so it put him ridiculously far behind. The cloak did nothing, and at that point, it was really just a matter of time. Unless he was able to pull it back with a great engagement or good drop play, neither of which he had the ability to do, because he did not have air superiority. Well, it was a slow and painful death there for Xenocider, and that's unfortunate. You know, he came so close to advancing and really making his way into the round of 8 to face off against Kane, but it will be the veteran QXC that advances alongside State, which I think is probably the lineup that people predicted, but not necessarily in that order.
Yeah, I don't know if people were going to say how convincingly State was able to beat QXC in some of those games.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, they still have really tough opponents heading into tomorrow, don't they, TB?
Yes, I would certainly say so. They don't have a lot of time to prepare either, quite frankly. There is so much stuff they have to think about. At least they only have one opponent to prepare for, but now we know the lineup. We do. We know what we're going to see tomorrow in the round of 8. That is pretty damn cool. So let me tell you, the matches you are going to be expecting tomorrow is going to be amazing. There's not a bad match in this selection here, and this is what we're going to be seeing. Things are lined up as follows. The first match will be Puck versus Gosu User, a Zerg versus Protoss for the ages right there. The second match will be Kane versus QXC, which will be a phenomenal best of 5. Bear in mind, this is best of 5 format now, so this is a big deal. Minigun versus Drunken Boy, and then Hello Kitty versus State. That is a selection.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy that we managed to get a pretty decent race distribution as well. It's not completely favoring one or the other.
No.
Overall, I think all these guys have made cases that they're really strong North American players. And I don't know who's necessarily the favorite to win it all. Don't you? I mean, who would you really pick here from this point on, TV?
It's really hard to say. Like, Kane is looking really strong, but I think Puck is as well. They will meet each other potentially in the round of 4 if it happens to go that far for either of them. But I also wouldn't underestimate Drunken Boy, whose actual performance has been phenomenal up to this point. He convincingly destroyed his group. And he is up against Minigun, who has stated that TVP is, or PVT in that respect, is one of his strongest matchups. But Minigun did have a bit of a rocky start in Group A, if I'm totally frank. But who knows? State is looking really strong. We do see a strong Protoss presence in the round of 8, but there will be a Protoss kill, because Hello Kitty and State will be fighting each other. So there is actually no chance. Well, there is in fact a chance of a round of 4 with 3 Protoss in it, but then again, there is also the chance that if there are 3 Protoss, then there will be another Protoss elimination in the round of 4 as well. So it's, we may still see a PvP final, that's a possibility, but considering who we've got, like QXC and Drunken Boy as the Terran representatives, and Kane and Gosu User as the Zerg, I don't see a Protoss whitewash here. No, absolutely not.
No, I have to agree with that. I do want to commend State again for a great day of play, and I think if he can get by Hello Kitty, I think he can really take on Minigun or Drunken Boy, and I think State is definitely one of the players to watch out for. And it's about time that a team looks at State and seriously considers them as part of their lineup.
I would tend to agree. State has played really, really well today, and I think he's proven a lot of people wrong, saying, oh, he's a weak Protoss in the group. No, he isn't. He's really, really good at what he does. And here it is. This is the bracket here that shows the advancement. QXC taking the games over Xenocider 2-1. QXC taking out RSVP before that. State taking out Xenocider 2-0. Xenocider took out RSVP 2-0, and then a 2-1 match against QXC for State. That leaving State with advancing with 4 maps to 1. Not bad. QXC looking a bit shakier, but still solid with 5 maps to 3, and Xenocider with 3 to 4. So close yet so far, and RSVP unfortunately being the whipping boy of today's group with a 0-4 score.
One thing I do want to commend QXC is that even though sure he lost some games, the games that he lost in, you can understand that his mechanics are still on par. A couple of decisions really hurt him, but he's still always scanning where his opponent's position is. He's still making very good decisions based off information, but sometimes overextends a little bit too much or his drops don't even work out. I think QXC still is a force to be reckoned with. And he was saying he's not afraid of Kane. I am going to be watching that TVZ very closely to see if Kevin Riley can back up his words.
Man, yeah. Kane looked so scary considering the games that he played. I think that he's going to have to work pretty hard on that Terran versus Zerg in the next 24 hours because that is arguably one of the worst matches that QXC could have possibly been handed. But he seems to believe that Kane is in a slump right now. I have not seen any evidence of that at all, but let's see if he can back up his words, as he said.
Maybe it starts with QXC knocking him down a couple pegs.
Yeah, and it's like Kane retires as a pro gamer 3 weeks later after losing every game on ladder. That would, yeah, I don't know. QXC is a really strong opponent, but Kane is monstrous, so that's going to be a great matchup. I think it's very hard to call the match of the day tomorrow, but I think that QXC versus Kane could be one of the best, if not the best.
Well, it sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. 4 best of 5s.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a lot.
4 best of 5s, alongside co-caster Idra making his debut casting performance after being released from Evil Geniuses. Of course, we have seen him cast before. Doesn't cast a lot of events. I mean, he casts a little bit of early NASL, as you're well aware.
That's right.
But he casts mostly EG events, and that is going to be really interesting. I'm intrigued to see how his casting has evolved since then.
I'm sure you're going to get lots of nice quotables to hang on your wall.
Yep, I don't think there's any question about that one. We will not be censoring him. There's no question about that. So we'll see. You know, I'm not going to judge what he's going to say because who knows. It's a very different situation for Idra right now. But I would recommend that you tune in because one way or the other it's going to be a rather memorable experience. The round of 8 is looking really potent. We will see, of course, who advances to the round of 4. That, I believe, will be co-cast on Sunday with Day 9, assuming that he doesn't get through to Day 3 of his Magic the Gathering tournament. And he is terrible at Magic the Gathering, so it's possible that...
Oh, man.
It's true. He's really, really bad. Like, he forgot his
told
land.
him to his face?
He flew out there and he forgot his basic land. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
really?
gosh.
Like, what a terrible start for him. But we'll see. If he gets through to Day 3, I'm going to have to find a different co-caster. But then the finals. The finals, ladies and gentlemen, will be played on Tuesday, the